You probably can't see it unless you're in the front row, but this is, first of all, this is my daughter, Juliet's favorite sippy cup. She likes it because it's close to pink. It's the closest thing to pink that she has is a sippy cup. And so that's her favorite. Now, it's plastic, and because it's plastic, it by definition has chemicals that were invented after I was born. It probably has chemicals invented after she was born. And very few of the chemicals that we're all exposed to every day have been tested for their health impacts. Or almost none of them have been adequately tested for their health impacts. None of them have been tested for the way they interact with the other chemicals, the other 79,999 chemicals we're being exposed to. So this is my favorite sippy cup for Juliet Green. It's stainless steel. No exotic chemicals, no man-made chemicals, nothing really required except for iron and some other metals. Here's what happens, is that when she wants milk, we have an arm wrestling match. And I want her to use this one, and she wants me to give her this one. And so she wins sometimes, and I win sometimes. But when she wins, and this happens every time she wins, every time I worry about what are the health impacts of the chemicals leaching out from that sippy cup into her milk. Every time. It's never happened that I have given her something to drink in a plastic cup and I haven't thought about that. So I don't even know what's in. I don't even know what chemicals are in this thing. Now I know what one chemical that's not in it because it says it here, and that's the thing that you can only see if you're in the front row. It says BPA free. So that means it doesn't have, if you believe them, which I do, it doesn't have bisphenol A. So BPA is a chemical that is often used in plastics and gives it special properties that manufacturers like, but what it also does is it mimics estrogen. So your body gets confused by BPA and it thinks, oh, there's estrogen there. And then when your body is confused and thinks there's estrogen there, it literally changes the chemistry of your body, because then the hormone structure gets messed up because it responds to the estrogen, but there's actually no estrogen there. So this can have profound effects later in life, like cancer or diabetes or infertility. So this month, early this month, Jerry Brown signed into law a bill banning the use of BPA in sippy cups. That's great. CEH was active in getting that law passed, but the lead nonprofit actually wasn't us. The lead nonprofit was the Breast Cancer Fund, and that's something really interesting to me. That's kind of deep. Because if you think about it, that's a nonprofit whose job it is to protect women from breast cancer. And they feel like they need to start at the age of 2. Because we're being exposed to such a stew that that just tells you how complicated the problems are that we're addressing here. They're trying to protect Juliet Green from getting breast cancer 30, 40 years from now by banning this chemical in the sippy cup. And so that's a travesty that we're thinking like that. But the problem is that the chemical that they're going to replace it with, the chemical that this one says BPA free, also may be an estrogen mimicking chemical. Because what's happening is that we're living in a situation where a company doesn't want to know the toxicity of its products. It has a disincentive to know, so it's going to keep using the BPA until Jerry Brown signs a bill and until there's an article in the Journal of Pediatrics, and then they're going to take it out and they're going to replace it with something else that's untested. Because if it's untested, they're good. Because if it's untested, then there's no liability, there's no risk, they've got plausible deniability, literally. So what companies want to do is they want to not knowingly expose us to toxic chemicals because it's bad for their brand and it creates bad liability. But the key word is knowingly. And so remember how I said that most of these chemicals are untested? Because the companies don't want to know, that just results in them putting in something else that they intentionally don't know about. So it's a shell game. So why do they play this? Well, they play this shell game, obviously because it's more profitable, but they play it specifically because they don't have an incentive to know the difference. If they have an actual disincentive to know about what the toxicity of the products that they're they're making for the workers who make them, or for the people who dispose of them, or for the consumers. So our job at CEH is to create different incentives. That's what we do for a living, is we're trying to create different incentives to make more good instead of less bad, right? Because incentives work by creating a race to the top as compared to a race to the bottom. So here's how we're going to do it. Here's a couple of commitments I want to make. In the next 15 years, we're going to end the shell game, and what I mean by that is that every company will have and share publicly, doing business in the U.S., they will have and share information about the health impacts of what they're doing on us and our children. So that's what we're going to do in the next 15 years. We're going to end the shell game. In the next 15 months, we're going to end the shell game for estrogen-mimicking chemicals in sippy cups and baby bottles. In the next 15 weeks, we're going to systematically test dozens of sippy cups and baby bottles for basically estrogen effects and find out which of the sippy cups and baby bottles are causing small children today to have long-term health impacts like diabetes and cancer and infertility and early onset puberty and things like that. The next 15 days, we're going to find out whether Juliette Green's sippy cup, this one, not this one, has estrogen-mimicking chemicals in it as a model. And here's the really fun part. In the next 15 minutes, we're going to ask you to help us do it.